everyone. My name is Tyler King. This is my co-host, Karen Maldonado, and we are back for another episode of Narcissist. I am asking for a friend. And what we do here is we are not a narcissist bashing session. We try to take a biblical perspective, and we really just want to get to the heart of the matter, just to make sure that people who are suffering in these relationships, they know what is happening, what's going on, that they know it's not them, and that they're able to kind of navigate their thoughts and emotions while dealing with this narcissistic type of relationship that they're in. I know you have another good one today that we're going to dive into, so I don't want to waste any more time. Let's just go ahead and get right into it.
Well, we were reading from this book.
Yes.
The Verbal Relationship by Patricia Evans. Excellent. How to recognize it and how to respond. So in this book, now we've read for the past two podcast episodes, we were reading two other interactions. We're going to read a third one. Now, this one's about May. So let's dive in.
All right.
So May and Mel had 3 children. 2 were away at college. From all appearances, they had a good marriage. Mel, however, had grown gradually more abusive over the course of their relationship. May described the following. Mel called and said he wanted to talk to our daughter. I told him she was in the shower and asked him if he wanted her to call him back. He said yes, then added, she called about the stereo. Tell her I don't know what the problem is. I said, okay, I'll tell her. But then he said, no, I could call her back later or she could call me. I said, okay. Picking up the pencil, what message do you want me to write down? Then he blasted me with real rage. I never asked you to write it down. I was reeling in shock and pain, a definite sign of verbal abuse.
Right.
So, they were having a calm conversation. Now all of a sudden, bam.
Yep.
I flipped the switch there, right? So at the same time, I was trying to understand why I thought he'd asked me to write down the message. Everyone in the house wrote down messages for one another. All these feelings and thoughts were going through my mind at once. I could barely speak. I said, I'll tell her you called. Bye. I hung up. I kept thinking, if only I hadn't asked him what message he wanted me to write down, I wouldn't feel so bad. So right away now she's already almost blaming herself.
Right. Yep.
I hear it. Now, in a normal relationship, you should be able to say something like that.
Of course.
Just simply the other person to say, oh, don't worry about it. I'll take care of it, whatever. Right? But no, she got blasted. So somehow I must have implied a sense of obligation to him. I said it wrong. I felt like dying. Another definite sign of verbal abuse. I thought that if I couldn't even relate to my husband, how could I get along out in the world? I'd been thinking of going back to work. So she's now doubting the fact that she's even capable of going back to work, because now she thinks if I can't do life with my husband, well, then there must be something wrong with me. Therefore, I can't go back to work. So that's how the thought processes are going. So this type of interaction never occurred when anyone else was around. That's the common thread in all 3 of the videos that we do, right?
Common denominator, right?
Although Cora, Leah, and May tried to discuss these and other painful incidents with their husbands always refused by denying, discounting, accusing, or diverting. And there's more in this book about diverting and accusing and discounting and denying in part 2. So if you get the book, it will possibly be very helpful for you. The verbally abusive interaction, the abuser's refusal to discuss, his denial that the upset occurred, and his implication that the partner has said, quote, something wrong, to cause the upset, all undermine her well-being. As long as the partner believes the abuser is being honest and sincere, she remains a victim of verbal abuse. As long as there is no one to validate her reality, she may remain doubtful of herself, in fear of saying or doing the wrong thing, hesitant, afraid to be spontaneous, and concerned that there is something wrong with her. The partner who does not recognize her mate's hostility may simply assume that he just sees things very differently from her. So this part, as long as there's no one to validate her reality, that jumps out at me. And I really think that that's an important thing for you to have, is somebody that can validate your reality. That's why
Yeah.
I talked about, the importance of going to see a counselor.
Right.
Mhm.
You even talked about the support groups, because
Yes.
this keeps you out of the isolation that narcissists love to keep you in. It's in that isolation so they can have that full control, so
Yeah.
that you're believing all of their thoughts and their ways are the right ways, right? And
Yeah.
that if you are in opposition to it, something's wrong with you.
Mhm.
So a couple of things screamed out to me as you read that was the danger of isolation, but also the importance of a community or a support group
Yes.
while you're going through this. Yeah.
Very good. Very good. Yeah, just hearing other people's stories and knowing that they go through similar things,
Yes.
have the same questions about themselves when it
Yeah.
happens. But, hopefully in a support group, especially if it's one that's open, maybe somebody that's been through this process longer, that is kind of on their way through the tunnel, and seeing
Yeah.
the light. Hopefully that person would be able to share some things about what they've done now to help
Yeah.
themselves to build boundaries, to gain, a perspective that's healthier for them, and also gain peace. So the whole thing is getting that peace back in your life, and getting your identity back. Having
Yes.
having the freedom to speak the truth and to speak about the things that most normal people can speak about without getting shut down.
Right. And Karen, that brings up such a good point, because we are like so unique in this respect, why we're able to speak to you and speak to you about it in a way that is going to help you, because you just recently retired, right? From
Yes.
doing your licensing with your marriage, family therapy, and all of the type of things that you did. And then I'm coming from a perspective of living that, getting on the other side of that. And we both just want to come together to help you.
Yes.
So if we always want you to share this and make sure, because there is so much more that we have to unpack. But just so that you know where we stand and where we're coming from with this information, this is only going to help you. It's only going to get you better. So, Karen, what else? What more? As they comment me and they like it and put all the emojis in there, what else is resonating with them? Because I know they're putting fire in the chat for everything that you're saying right now.
Well, the thing that I like about the book now, so after reading that little interaction number 3 with May's situation, the
Yeah.
author also gives some typical beliefs. And I think that
Mhm.
it's important for us maybe to read that too, because these are beliefs that our listeners may have about themselves right now, and
Okay.
want to help them to see, and uncover these things so that they know, yeah, I guess I do need help navigating through this,
Right.
you know. You don't want to be alone. You don't want to feel alone. And you don't want to
Mhm.
feel crazy either. So,
That's exactly.
mhm. So some typical beliefs, the consequences of verbal abuse listed at the beginning of this chapter are intellectual and attitudinal. So I should probably just look real quick at the consequences, so that there's a lot. So there's 19 of them. So
Oh, wow.
I'll just start to rattle them off, and you'll resonate with some of these, I'm sure. A
Yeah.
distrust of her spontaneity, a loss of enthusiasm, a prepared on guard state, an uncertainty about how she is coming across, a concern that something's just wrong with her, an inclination to soul searching and reviewing incidents with the hope of determining what went wrong, a loss of self-confidence, a growing self-doubt, an internalized critical voice, a concern that she isn't happier and ought to be, an anxiety or fear of being crazy, a sense that time is passing and she's missing something, a desire not to be the way she is, too sensitive, etc., a hesitancy to accept her perceptions, a reluctance to come to conclusions, a desire to escape or run away, a belief that what she does best may be what she does worse, a tendency to live in the future. Everything will be great when after. A distrust of future relationships. So that's another thing, everything will be great later. You don't want to live your life with someone that makes you always be thinking the future will be better. The future will get better.
Right.
You don't.
And yeah, because it's always like, oh, it'll get better when and if. it's like, why can't it be better now? That's the question you really should be asking yourself. Why isn't it better now? Why can't it be better now?
Mhm.
Why does it have to be a future? Because what if that future never happens? And
Right.
I think we talked
It
about it.
won't. And it won't
It
because
won't.
if you're not changing how you react to this person, it's not going to change. The only thing that might change is that person might decide to discard you and move on to someone else. And so you've spent your whole time with them questioning yourself, giving yourself in every way that you can possibly think of to try to make them happy. Meanwhile, you haven't taken care of you. So,
Yeah, and that's exactly what happens because we don't ever want to scare anyone, but we want you to be informed because the discard is, and maybe we need to unpack that more in another episode. That is a reality. That something that happens because so you can be into people pleasing for this person all you want to, but at the end of the day, when they're done with you, they're done with you. Believe me, I can tell you, I know from personal experience, when they're done with you, they're done with you. They will discard you and you will be left holding the bag like, what just happened here? I did everything. I complied with everything they asked for. I took whatever responsibility for whatever it is, even though it wasn't your fault. And then at the end of the day, they're still going to go and then they're still going to blame you and say you were the problem. Because even if they cheat on you, that's one of the things you said, well, you weren't doing this and you weren't doing that. And I'm like, so you're blaming your cheating because you're saying I didn't do something, but then you're the one that did the action. So
right.
how does that even make sense?
Yeah, they're trying to justify their bad behavior. And it's always, the narcissist never wants to focus on their bad behavior. It's always going to be spotlight swinging, right? Put it back on.
Right?
Yep,
Yeah.
yeah.
We talked about that a few episodes ago as well.
Yes.
And then that trust issues, you brought that up because then it brings up the trust issues because now you've been betrayed, you've been deceived, you've been manipulated, you've been verbally abused, emotionally abused, and now your concept of who's safe and who's not, it's like your mind and thoughts are out of there. So what do
Right.
you
And
have to say to that?
you question your ability to be a good judge of character, right? You pick this person.
Yes. Right. Then
Right.
you're like, wait, what's wrong with me? Why did I pick this person? Now you're internalizing it back again and blaming yourself.
Right. Right. So it always falls on you unless you have help to dismantle that. It's not
Dismantle
it's a
that.
lie.
Professional help.
Yeah.
That is absolutely.
Yeah. Somebody that understands what's going on enough to kind of show you that you're not crazy and I can validate your reality, that your reality is that you've been abused.
Right. Yeah. And then someone who's been on the other side of it, because it's like sometimes some people are like, yeah, the counselor can say this, but they've never been through it. Believe me, there are some people that have lived it, walked it, gone through it, been on the other side of it, and they're both in agreement and will tell you the same thing.
Right.
So get help however you can. And don't stay in that state because from what Karen, would you say that the longer you stay in it, isn't it making it more difficult to get out because of the damage that's being done to you mentally, emotionally, and everything else?
Yes. Yes. It's harder to get out for sure. And then it's also harder to get out because a person, let's say in some of these cases, they're married 20, 30 years. So they've invested so much of their life with this person, probably when they were young, they got married. And so now,
high school sweethearts, or like they got married real young, out of college, or in, after high school, whatever.
Yeah. And so now they've invested so much and now they have children together. So, it's hard to pull away from that because just family, right? You want to keep your family together. And so it's hard. And then, oftentimes when a person does finally put their foot down and say, I'm not tolerating this anymore, we're separating, then the narcissist will blame them for, and the kids, your mom or your dad is choosing this because or whatever, So then, and then the person that's thinking of leaving then might shrink back and say, I can't leave because now my kids are going to hate me, so there's a lot that goes into all of it.
And you know what's funny about you saying that is that narcissists will go as far as they'll cause all this havoc, confusion, lies, deceit, everything. And then when you finally put your foot down and say, I'm not taking this anymore, just know that it's a reality. They will tell that it's possible that they will tell the children or the family or the friends, whoever, the church, well, she didn't want to work it out and she left me, and then it becomes they're this victim now and you were
Yes.
this who abandoned them, when really you were living in hell the entire time of that relationship.
Right.
And you have to be ready and prepared for that. So I'm glad you brought that up, Karen, because you got to put your armor on, because you have to be ready that that is the tactic.
Yeah.
That is going to be the next tactic they're going to use against you to
Yes.
keep you down even further.
Yeah. And discredit you to everybody.
To discredit you, yeah, and to say you're the one, and they may even accuse you of the same things they're doing just to make themselves look better.
Exactly.
In
Exactly.
when it's all said and done. So
Exactly.
what else? What were they referencing, Karen, in there in the book? I know you had some other things.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, let me see here. Okay. So so that whole list that we read there of the verbal abuse consequences,
Yes.
they result in beliefs that the partner may hold about herself and her relationship, or himself and his relationship. Although the partners I interviewed were not always able to articulate them, these beliefs were often so deeply held that they seemed to the partner to be reality rather than beliefs about reality. Most partners held one or more of the following beliefs until they recognized that they were in a verbally abusive relationship. The partner believed that if she were better able to express herself and to explain what she meant, her mate wouldn't be angered by her question or thought. The partner believed that if she didn't have some inexplicable problem or in perception, she wouldn't take things in the wrong way as she was told she did.
Wow.
The partner believed that if she weren't inadequate in some way, taking it wrong and making it a big deal out of nothing, she wouldn't feel so much pain and hurt. The partner believed that just as she was sincere and caring, the man who said he loved her was also. The partner believed her mate was the same at work and or with his friends, and they didn't make him mad and they had no complaints. So there must be something wrong with her. The partner believed that she was suffering needlessly because of some lack or flaw. This lack or flaw was not particularly defined, but was instead a general sense of inadequacy derived from countless accusations.
Wow. So you see the battle that's going on in her mind right now, even though there may not be things he's directly saying to her, or she's already put this narrative in her head about herself, the relationship, how it's her fault, how maybe if she would have worded things better, if she would have, this whole thing is going on in her mind. And guess what's going on in his mind? Nothing. He's not thinking about her. He doesn't care. He's going on with his life. He's happy. He got his supply. He was able to get his fix off of making her feel, less than, a human. So it's just a matter of, this is why we're trying to unpack this, because we want you to know that you're not crazy. You're not going through this alone. There are many people that have gone through and felt the way that you felt. But what we want to do is help you to understand that you don't have to continue feeling this way and taking on this responsibility of things that are not your fault or your responsibility to take on. So what else you have for that, Karen? This
right.
Whew.
Interestingly, when a verbal abuser is berating his partner, he may actually be describing himself.
Wow.
The partner quoted her mate's accusations thus: "You take things too seriously. You jump to conclusions and you see everything in the worst possible light." Actually, the partners of verbal abusers consistently seem to overlook the seriousness of their own suffering and to hesitate to reach any conclusions. They are almost universally optimistic, looking for the best, seeing everything in the best possible light. The partner believed that as soon as her mate understood that angry blasts and sarcastic put-downs really hurt her, he would stop. She reasoned that she just hadn't found a way to explain to him how much some of the things he said bothered her. The partner believed that the way her mate was the way men are, and that she just wasn't able to understand him the way other women understood their mates. As long as the partner does not understand the dynamics of the relationship, she doesn't know what to do or what is happening to her. Many partners try to improve communication. The partner's attempts to enhance the relationship, improve communication, and find some happiness, all lead to difficulties. The more the partner shares her hopes and fears with the abuser, hoping for acceptance and intimacy, the more the abuser views her openness as weakness, the more superior he feels, the colder he becomes, and the more power over he feels. The more
Oh,
the
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, it's almost like leverage. It's like the more you share with them, they kind of use it as leverage against you and try to find a way to weaponize the same thing you shared with them, trying to be open and transparent. They weaponize it against you. So
yes.
that
Yep.
is a normal thing.
Mm-hmm. And the more the partner shares her interests and goals, the more the abuser introduces a situation or judgment which throws her off balance, diverts her from them, and reestablishes his control. The more
Mm.
the partner brings up topics and attempts to engage the abuser in conversation, the more the abuser withholds, entertained by her attention and basking in the power he feels in getting it.
So you're saying that like now they're trying to engage and trying to have a conversation. So then he just kind of becomes cold, almost like
Right.
walling, like, oh, I'm, just quiet all of a sudden, just not
Yes.
speaking, just
Yes.
those kind of actions.
Right.
Okay.
Right. But he wants her to try to engage,
Right.
is what this is saying. He wants her, he enjoys that. So,
Right.
so it's almost like don't feed the fire.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't give in. So I'll read that again. The more the partner brings up topics and attempts to engage the abuser in conversation, the more the abuser withholds, entertained by her attention and basking in the power he feels in getting it. So he wants her attention. He wants that continuous attempt to try and
Yeah.
it's better because then he can slam her again. So it's this very devious some of it's subconscious, but in this case, it becomes more conscious now.
Yes, I was about to say it kind of crossed that line there at that
Yeah.
point. Wow.
Yes. The more the partner accomplishes, believing the abuser will be happy for her, the more the abuser trivializes and diminishes her efforts in order to be one up and dominant. The more the partner lets go of her hope for acceptance and intimacy with the abuser and relies on friends for companionship, the more angry and hostile the abuser comes because he wants her attention. He doesn't
Yeah.
want her giving it to anyone else.
It's funny that you say that because I'm thinking about something personal. I love the dance and do the salsa and all that, just to go out and have a good time. And one thing that happened was initially when we first went out, it was like it was okay to do, but then all of a sudden, because now I wanted to go out with friends, people that I was actually teaching, and my classes and all that, then it became, well, now what are you doing? You're just going to the bar. Now it turns into not going out dancing with my participants and my students, but now it becomes like you're just going out to the bar, you're going to do this, you're doing that, and that's not appropriate, and that's not this and that. And all it was a way to kind of break me down to the point where, oh, well, I just won't go. Like that's what he's looking for.
Yeah,
That's what
isolate
he was
you.
looking for. To isolate, right. To
Yeah.
not be amongst friends, to make me feel bad. So let's say if I were to text or call while I'm out, now it's the silence. No response in the text, no response to the calls, won't answer the call, won't answer the phone, just being the silent treatment when you get back, and oh yeah, and kind of looking at you like, oh, what you've been up to, kind of thing. So it's all about that control to kind of make me feel like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. And maybe if he did it enough, I wouldn't want to go back out again, right?
But also projecting onto you,
Right.
he's capable of.
Right, because that's exactly in the end what ended up happening. He was the one going to the clubs, going to the bars, going around with different women. Like that's what was going on in the end. Was it's like the same thing they try to accuse you of. They're doing it 10 times over.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So
Yep.
yeah.
So it kind of goes along with what this said in the beginning. Interesting, when a verbal abuser is berating his partner, he may actually be describing himself. So
Yeah.
that was that. Interesting. These paradoxes, so we was talking about the more the partner lets go of her hope for acceptance and intimacy with the abuser and relies on friends for companionship, the more angry and hostile the abuser becomes. These paradoxes demonstrate how all the attempts the partner makes to grow, to be whole, and to improve the relationship bring her pain and confusion. In summary, this chapter has explained the effects of verbal abuse upon the partner from the standpoint of her self-perception, her beliefs, and her attempts to relate to the abuser. And then the following chapter will explore the partner's feelings. And so a lot of what's in this book is really good, and I think a lot of it we may have to come back to it too. Because
Yeah, we're definitely gonna have to come back to it, because I even thought of one more thing that relates to it was not only not going out to places and getting joy and other things that I was passionate about. There was even a friend. So there was someone I had at a gym that I was, particularly fond of, that I just spoke to as a friend because she was cool and kind of in a situation that, we just shared different things that was going on in her life. And I noticed that he had it was almost like a jealousy, always had a criticism about her and, oh, what type of person she is and this and that, and basically saying, oh, she doesn't seem like a good person, or she seems like she's out there, but the funny thing is, all the things that he was trying to say negative about her, they were really his own. Like you said, it's like they try to make it seem like it's you or it's that person. So he wanted to cut me off and isolate me from her and saying she was this and she was that and she's always doing this. But it's like, you're doing the same thing. In the end, when you find out and everything gets uncovered, the truth is exposed.
yes,
He was doing the same exact thing,
wow.
running around and all that. So
yeah, and trying to make you feel like your own judge of people is not good. So now you question yourself again. And then, maybe I shouldn't hang around with, just questioning everything.
Yeah, but then again, it's like, well, who do I hang around? Everyone, you have a problem with that. So that's a little bit of a red flag. So that was
Yes.
extra right there to give to you. So, and like we always share this with you, we want to make sure you are informed, and we just ask that we please just don't let it end with you. Please make sure that you're sharing this with someone that's going through this, because if it's helping you, it'll help someone else. And maybe if they're not listening to you, they'll hear what we're talking about and they'll listen to what we have to say, and then they can listen to previous episodes and kind of just binge watch everything so that they can get their mindset renewed, because that's the goal really, is we're trying to renew your mindset to help you understand that you're not alone, that you're not crazy like that person may say, and you have worth and value. You are a child of God, and you have value, and we want you to always know that, and not to put this person on such a high pedestal, because we want to make sure we keep everything in line and keep God first, right? So, Karen, what is any final words or anything that you want to share with our people today to help them as they're going through this process and realizing these things, these thought patterns that they didn't even know that they had?
I think stop the isolation. If you've been isolated, start to let yourself get out there, start to talk to people about what you are going through, people that you trust. And if you are having a hard time thinking of who that might be, you can always pick a counselor, and a counselor is somebody that cannot share your information that you share with them. It's completely confidential. Let there be somebody though that is your sounding board, a support group, whatever it is you've got to do to help yourself not feel alone. There's great churches out there. I know for some people, I'm just thinking, counseling, they may feel it's too expensive. Maybe they don't have insurance that covers it or whatever. In local churches for small groups, just to have a group of people that you can get together with. There's a lot of women's groups or men's groups, in different churches that will be a great place to start to find true friendships, people that will pray for you.
That's
and
right.
people that will, try to validate your reality too. So that would be a really good thing, and find somebody that's trustworthy.
That's right. And don't let them, like May, when she said she started to second guess whether she should go back to work. Narcissists can be dream killers. They can infiltrate your mind to a point where they'll kill your dream. And don't let that be you. We want to help you get that dream back.
Yes.
Keep it alive. Well, thank you so much, Karen. It's an amazing one today. Remember, like the channel. We want you to make sure that we get it in the algorithm so more people see it, and then share the information so people are aware of what we're doing and we can help more people. And then you'll be blessed. I promise you'll be blessed because you bless somebody else. And subscribe to the channel. That way, when we have new episodes, you get them immediately and you're able to watch. Well, thank you for tuning in. My name is Tyler King. This is Karen Maldonado with the Narcissist. I'm Asking for a Friend podcast. And thank you for watching. We'll see you soon. Bye, guys.
Bye.